When we explore class in literature, we're talking about what you will sometimes hear also referred to as social hierarchy or social status or class status or socioeconomic status. All of these are interchangeable terms for how a society is organized hierarchically or how a society is stratified. When we talk about class and how it's stratified and how it's organized in a culture or society, one helpful way of thinking about it, not as a box, but as a tool for kind of unpacking it, is to think about how work, education, and birth generate class status in a culture. In a highly fluid and mobile culture, work and education really allow someone to rise up and find their agency and explore their freedom and move into a higher class structure. In a highly constrained society, in a society limited by forces like privilege, wealth, racism, patriarchy, gender roles, etc., birth plays a disproportionate role in shaping class. And one way we look at equity and opportunity in a society is to evaluate how many opportunities are there for people at all levels and of all races and of all gender orientations to elevate their status through work and education, and how much is limited by various social codes like racism, gender codes, patriarchy, etc., how much limits our class status through birth. So the struggle for class status is very connected to the discussion of agency. The more agency people have in a culture, the better able they are to move from one class level to another, to move beyond their birth class and birth status into higher statuses and class levels in a society. So we can think of class in terms of the three big forces that shape it: work, education, and birth. We can also think of class as the different markers of class. So when we're reading a work of literature, we can think about the things that make or contribute to or generate class, and then we can look at what a text seems to be saying about work, education, and birth and their relationship to social status, class, hierarchy, and stratification. But we can also look at the way a novel represents, examines, discusses the markers of class. And when we talk about the markers of class, we're talking about things like attitudes, values, beliefs, possessions, appearance, income, behavior. These are all things that show where people fall in a class hierarchy or class stratification. And by commenting on them, describing them, exploring them, an author is often exploring class dynamics in a culture. So if this idea of class and class status interests you, and these questions of the things that make or generate class status and the things that mark or reflect class status interest you, as you're reading the novel, you should be highlighting passages and writing that letter C in the margin, because this is what we're talking about when we talk about class.